Hello, everyone. Hi there. I hope you've all been doing okay without me. I know I've allowed this channel to sit and collect dust for a year now? Question mark? I don't remember exactly when I uploaded the Dead by Daylight Legion video. But it feels like forever ago. So I'm going to try to upload more regularly in 2024. And this is my attempt at starting that process. Practice, I guess, would be a better word. Yeah. Sorry, I don't have a script in front of me or anything. I'm not exactly what you would call a professional. Also, if I brush my mic, I apologize. If my furnace kicks on in the middle of this and you hear it, I also apologize for that. It's pretty cold around these parts. But this video has been a long time coming. I have been investing a lot of hours into Bloodborne. I think I'm in the 250 hour range, somewhere around there, last time I checked. And I told you guys, well, I told my community on Twitch that I was going to do a video where I read my inventory in this game. And then I sat on that idea, and the idea, like this channel, collected dust for months. And then tonight, I said, I'm doing it. And that's all there is to it. So without further ado, here we go. Consumables. Wrong button. Yosefka's blood vial. Blood vial acquired from Yosefka's clinic. This refined blood, highly invigorating, restores a larger amount of HP. The product of a slow and careful refinement process, this rare blood vial appears to be a clinic original. Blood of Adeline. Blood taken from Adeline, patient of the research hall. Restores HP, then continues to rejuvenate HP for some time. Adeline was originally one of the blood saints who received treatment by the church to cultivate worthy blood. Adeline's was one of the few cases that turned out favorably. Antidote. These small medicinal tablets counteract poison. Used to treat ashen blood, the baffling sickness that ravaged old Yarnum long ago. These tablets only provide short-term relief. The ashen blood ailment eventually triggered the spread of the beastly scourge. Beast blood pellet. Large medicinal pellets, supposedly formed of coagulated beast blood, banned by the healing church due to their unclear origin, grants a spurt of beasthood, ripping apart the flesh of one's enemies, and being rained upon by their splattering blood invigorates one's sense of beasthood, feeding strength and euphoric feeling alike. Sedative. Liquid medicine concocted at Bergenworth calms the nerves. Those who delve into the arcane fall all too easily to madness, and thick human blood serves to calm the frayed nerves of these inquisitive minds. Naturally, this often leads to a reliance on blood ministration. Blue elixir. Dubious liquid medicine used in strange experiments conducted by high ministers of the healing church. A type of anesthetic that numbs the brain. Hunters, able to retain consciousness by force of will, make use of a secondary effect of the medicine, which dilutes their presence while standing still. Lead elixir. A heavy, syrupy liquid medicine. Temporarily shifts weight to make deflection of attacks easier, but must be used with care, as it also slows movement with no change to defense. Its recipe for this mysterious concoction is unknown, but some postulate that it materializes only within the most desperate nightmares. Molotov cocktail. Explodes in raging flames when thrown against an object. One of the oldest hunter tools available in the workshop. Since the tragedy that struck old Yarnum, fire has become a staple in beast hunts and is thought to cleanse impurity. Certain types of beasts have an abnormal fear of flame. I'm going to skip items like this that are similar to the previous items. Delayed Molotov. A special hunter tool crafted by the old Otto workshop. These Molotovs wedge into the ground when thrown and explode on a timed delay. A shame that such a complex gadget must be sacrificed with each use of this inefficient hunter tool. Nevertheless, delayed Molotovs are cherished by the minority of hunters who prefer the trixier kill. This creation is one of the earliest known roots of the powder kegs. Oil urn. When this urn hits its mark, the target is drenched in oil and made extremely flammable. Fire is commonplace on the hunt, and oil urns accentuate its effect. Sometimes, when hunters burn beasts, they appear intoxicated by the euphoria of purification. Pungent blood cocktail. Mature blood cocktail that releases a pungent odor when thrown that attracts bloodthirsty beasts. A precious tool in, sadly, short supply. In Yharnam they produce more blood than alcohol, as the former is the more intoxicating. Numbing mist. Throw to create a mist cloud that numbs a hunter's life essence and prevents restoration of HP. Said to be used by the blood hunters of Canehurst, its recipe is a secret closely guarded by the line of nobles inhabiting the castle. Throwing knife. Throwing knife with a finely serrated blade, one of the old hunter Henrik's favorite weapons. Does not cause a great deal of damage to beasts, but with deft use can distract attackers and keep them at bay. Poison knife. A knife slathered in poison. This curved knife is as thin and sharp as a surgeon's blade, often used for self-defense by special doctors in the healing church. They say that hunters traditionally avoid the use of poison, likely because the poison is too slow to act in the heat of the hunt. Pebble. Small pebbles found throughout Yharnam can be thrown at foes. Quite thrilling. I never get tired of reading this one. Fire paper. Coarse paper that applies fire to weapons when rubbed. A hunter tool found in the healing church workshop. Since the tragedy that struck old Yharnam, fire has become a staple in beast hunts and is thought to cleanse impurity. Certain types of beasts have an abnormal fear of flame. Bolt paper. Coarse paper that applies bolt to weapons when rubbed. Invented by Archibald, the infamous eccentric of the healing church workshop, artificially recreates the blue sparks that are said to surround dark beasts. Unlike the other strange weapons created by Archibald, this one was favored by many hunters, in particular those who had even once laid eyes on a dark beast. Bone marrow ash. Additional medium that strengthens quicksilver bullets. According to the workshop, this is a special bone marrow ash collected from Hemwick Charnel Lane, invaluable to hunters with weak blood tinge who require the use of stronger firearms. Shaman bone blade. A blade of bone coated with gruesome spinal fluid, used by old labyrinth watchers, in particular those presiding over rituals. When a victim is cut by this blade, the green spinal fluid temporarily numbs the senses, disturbing the target's gross motor skills. The blade, never intended for battle, must cut deep to be effective, and breaks. Bold Hunter's Mark. Dangling upside-down rune etched in the mind of a hunter. The image upon this parchment allows one to envision the rune with clarity, allows a hunter to awaken again without losing blood echoes, a trick that seems nearly too good to be true. Shining coins. Various coins that are particularly luminous. There are very few uses for spare change during the hunt, but these will serve as guides through the darkness. Or one could save them until morning, if it ever comes. Hand lantern. Small, portable lantern. This hunting accessory provides light, while leaving both hands free to hold weapons. The torch, however, provides a stronger source of light. Monocular. Monocular used to view things up close. Not a hunter's tool, but a simple antique, to be used as one sees fit. Tiny music box. A small music box received from a young Yarnum girl. Plays a song shared by her mother and father. Inside the lid is a small scrap of paper, perhaps an old message. Two names can be made out, however faintly. Viola and Gascoigne. Thick cold blood. A thick droplet of cold blood containing blood echoes, used to gain a larger amount of blood echoes. A strong will produces thick blood, doubtless the product of obsession, a potent source of human strength. Kin cold blood. Cold blood of inhuman kin of the cosmos, brethren of the great ones, used to gain unspeakable blood echoes. Dare not to delve into the world beyond humanity, the eldritch truth touched upon long ago at Bergenworth. Great One, cold blood. Relic containing the blood echoes of a great one, used to gain cosmically nightmarish blood echoes. Like a true revelation, this uncanny relic defies understanding. Madman's knowledge. Skull of a madman, touched by the wisdom of the great ones, used to gain insight. Making contact with eldritch wisdom is a blessing, for even if it drives one mad, it allows one to serve a grander purpose for posterity. Great One's wisdom. Fragments of the lost wisdom of the Great Ones, beings that might be described as gods, used to gain insight. At Bergenworth, Master Willem had an epiphany. We are thinking on the basest of planes. What we need are more eyes. 1/3 of umbilical cord. A great relic, also known as the cord of the eye. Every infant great one has this precursor to the umbilical cord. Every great one loses its child and then yearns for a surrogate. The third umbilical cord precipitated the encounter with the pale moon, which beckoned the hunters and conceived the hunter's dream. Used to gain insight, and, so they say, eyes on the inside, although no one remembers what that truly entails. description's mostly the same. I'll skip to the second paragraph. Every great one loses its child, and then yearns for a surrogate. And Odin, the formless great one, is no different. To think it was corrupted blood that began this eldritch liaison. One-third of the vocal cord. Provost Willem sought the cord in order to elevate his being and thoughts to those of a great one by lining his brain with eyes. The only choice he knew, if man were to ever match their greatness. Vermin. A centipede-like creature discovered on successful hunts by League hunters. Vermin, found hidden within filth, are only seen by League confederates and are the root of man's impurity. The League has assumed the task of finding and crushing all vermin. Perhaps there is some mercy in the madness. Those who wish to see vermin can, and those who choose to are provided with boundless purpose. Red jeweled brooch. Excuse me, I had to clear my throat. A woman's bright red brooch, or is it brooch, engraved with the name Viola. Perhaps the jewel is a gift from a hunter, used to change into a droplet blood gem that fortifies any weapon. With the proper workshop tool, various weapons can be fortified. Old Hunter Bone. The bone of an old hunter whose name is lost. It is said that he was an apprentice to old Gehrman and a practitioner of the art of quickening, a technique particular to the first hunters. It is most appropriate that hunters, carriers of the torch, who are sustained by the dream, would tease an old art from his remains. Tiny Tonitrus. Tonitrus is a unique weapon crafted by Archibald, the infamous eccentric of the Healing Church workshop. This is a similar Morning Star mace that utilizes quicksilver bullets. When struck into the ground, it recreates the blue sparks that are said to surround the dark beasts. Like Archibald's masterpiece, this too is a superb conductor of the powerful blue sparks. Empty phantasm shell. Empty invertebrate shell that is said to be a familiar of a great one. The Healing Church has discovered a great variety of invertebrates, or phantasms as they are called. Shells with slime still harbor arcane power, and can be rubbed on weapons to imbue them with their strength. Black Sky Eye. Soft eye blessed by a phantasm. They were discovered through Bergenworth's contact with the arcane, but in the end revealed nothing. Deep within the eye lies a vast stretch of dark sky that rumbles with an endless meteor storm. The slightest rub of the tiny orb, and the rock will tumble and soar. Augur of Ebrietas. Remnant of the eldritch truth encountered at Bergenworth. Use phantasms vertebrates known to be augurs of the Great Ones to partially summon abandoned ebrietas. The initial encounter marked the start of an inquiry into the cosmos from within the old labyrinth and led to the establishment of the choir. A call beyond. One of the secret rites of the choir. Long ago, the healing church used phantasms to reach a lofty plane of darkness, but failed to make contact with the outer reaches of the cosmos. The rite failed to achieve its intended purpose, but instead created a small exploding star, now a powerful part of the choir's arsenal. At times, failure is the mother of invention. Choir Bell. Special hunter tool of the choir. High-ranking members of the church. Fashioned after a bell that projects an arcane sound across planes of existence. The sound of this smaller, silver version of the bell does not cross planes, but grants vigor and healing to all cooperators. Beast Roar. One of the forbidden hunter tools made by Irreverent Izzy. Borrow the strength of the terrible, undead dark beasts, if only for a moment, to blast surrounding foes back with the force of a roaring beast. The indescribable sound is broadcast with the caster's own vocal cords, which begs the question, what terrible things lurk deep within the frames of men? Executioner's Gloves. One of the secret treasures hidden in Canehurst. The gloves of an executioner from a faraway land. Passed from executioner father to executioner son. These gloves can be used to summon wrathful spirits of the past by smearing them with blood. It is said that the nobles found immeasurable delight in the dances of these vengeful specters. Messenger's Gift. A strange gift from the messengers, inhabitants of the dream, who revere the brave hunters. Used to envelop oneself in a black, nightmarish mist, then transform into a messenger. The illusion is a parlor trick, and any large movement will break the spell. To preserve the guise, proceed very slowly. Vile Blood Register. Red leather record of the Vile Bloods loyal to the Covenant of Annalise, Queen of the Vile Bloods at Canehurst Castle. A record of the Vile Bloods, blood-lusting hunters who seek blood dregs of their prey, kept throughout the ages. League Staff. The League Staff is the sign of a Confederate. A directory within the hilt lists the names of fellow Confederates. Members of the League brandish this staff to indicate themselves to fellow members of the League. There shall be no sympathy for those engaged in the bloody mission of the League, no matter that an oath must be taken to uphold the illusion. Beckoning Bell. Great old bell discovered in the underground labyrinth. Its ring resonates across worlds, and the first hunter used it as a special signal to call hunters from other worlds to cross the gap and cooperate. A human must use insight to ring this uncanny bell, but the benefits of cross-world cooperation are many. Small resonant bell. Small bell discovered in the old underground labyrinth. Its ring resonates across worlds, and the first hunter used it as a special signal to call hunters from other worlds to cross the gap and cooperate. This bell resonates with its counterpart, the beckoning bell. Ring to help hunters in other worlds. Sinister resonant bell. A blood-stained bell discovered in the old underground labyrinth. One of the resonating bells that crosses the gaps of worlds. But this one knells for misfortune and malice. The sinister bell is an object of dark thoughts. Ring it to become the enemy of a hunter in another world. Silencing blank. Hunters are linked by the resonance of bells with special encoded timbers. This inaudible burst disrupts such resonance. Fire to end cooperation and prevent further cooperation. Firing this does not disrupt the resonance of a sinister bell. Hunter's Mark. Dangling upside-down rune etched in one's mind. Symbol of a hunter. By focusing one's thoughts on this rune, a hunter loses all blood echoes, but awakens afresh, as if it were all just a bad dream. Notebook. Messengers are inhabitants of the dream who revere the brave hunters. Use them to send messages to other worlds. Leave notes with messengers, read the notes left to messengers in other worlds, and rate notes to reach out to hunters across planes of existence. Alright, we've made it to the materials now. I should warn you, if you're not familiar with this game, Bloodborne tells a very dark story. It is not a happy story by any means. And almost all the friendly NPCs you meet suffer a terrible fate. So, keeping in mind how dark this game is, the description is going to be reflected in several of these materials. Pressing on. Bloodstone shard. A solid shard that forms in cold blood. After death, a substance in the blood hardens, and that which does not crystallize is called a bloodstone. At the workshop, these bloodstones are embedded in weapons to fortify them. Bloodstone chunk. A solid chunk that forms in cold blood. After death, a substance in the blood hardens, and that which does not crystallize is called a bloodstone. A chunk will never appear in the blood of an ordinary human. Seek deadlier foes if bloodstone chunks are needed. Blood rock. This is no mere chunk. It is nearly a boulder. Few bloodstones of such size have ever been discovered, even considering the combined experience of all the hunters. Ritual blood. Material used in a holy chalice ritual. One of the basic ingredients used to satiate a holy chalice is this incoagulable blood. When all is melted in blood, all is reborn. Tomb mold. Material used in a holy chalice ritual. Mold that grows from rotten flesh and blood inside the old labyrinth. Matures to bear giant spores. Cold blood flower bud. Material used in a holy chalice ritual. Pale vegetation that commonly grows on cold blood in a place long ago abandoned. Cold blood flower bulb. Pale vegetation that commonly grows on cold blood in a place long abandoned, said to mature slowly in close proximity to death, and eventually bloom. Blooming cold blood flower. Pale vegetation that commonly grows on cold blood in a place long abandoned, that has bloomed into a bright red Stygian flower. Arcane haze. The tiny smatterings of haze that are found in certain ritual materials, sometimes required for special rites. The additional rite Sinister Bell makes the bell-ringing woman appear, and when she rings a sinister bell, hunters from other worlds will be beckoned as adversaries. Bloodshot eyeball. An exquisite eyeball removed quickly after death, or perhaps even before, used to unlock the seal of the old labyrinth intertombs. Red jelly. Stillborn infants born of a creature of unknown origin, of the type found in some corners of the old labyrinth. Pearl slug. Of all the strange life forms that reside in the nooks and crannies of the old labyrinth, the slugs are clear signs of the left-behind great ones. Sage's wrist. A body part of a saint, sacrificed by the healing church in their search for truth. The additional rite, fetid offering, invigorates the watchers, making them more treacherous than normal, but also making them worthy prey for a special hunt. Sage's hair. A body part of a saint, sacrificed by the healing church in their search for truth. Inflicted organ. Special body parts collected by the healing church. What was this gruesome bait used to lure? The additional rite, rotted offering, beckons ungodly forces, normally terrifying things, but also worthy prey for a special hunt. Bastard of Loran. Remains of a Loran infant infected by the scourge, a harbinger of curses and a symbol of defilement. The additional rite, Curse, defiles dungeons in which hunters' HP is greatly eroded. But what better place to seek cursed blood gems but in the midst of defilement? We've moved on to key items now. Are you guys with me so far? I'm glad to hear it. Odin Tomb Key. Key to the gate that blocks the Tomb of Odin. Beyond the tomb, Odin Chapel can be found in the center of the cathedral ward. Only today the church is abandoned, and some say that the residents of Odin have all gone mad. Lunarium Key. Key to the Lunarium, facing the lake on the second floor of Bergenworth College. Bergenworth College. In his final years, Master Willem was fond of the lookout, and the rocking chair that he kept there for meditation. In the end, it is said, he left his secret with the lake. Lecture Theater Key. Key to the lecture theater in the lecture building. Today, the two-story lecture building is adrift in the nightmare, but once it was a place of reflection, where scholars learned of history and archaeology. Perhaps it still is, as the students in the lecture theater appear to await the return of their professor. Upper Cathedral Key. The key to the Upper Cathedral Ward seal. The upper echelons of the Healing Church are formed by the School of Mensis, based in the Unseen Village, and the choir occupying the Upper Cathedral Ward. This key brings one a step closer to the choir. Orphanage Key. Key to the orphanage, birthplace of the choir. The orphanage, shadowed by the Grand Cathedral, was a place of scholarship and experimentation, where young orphans became potent, unseen thinkers for the Healing Church. The choir that would later split the Healing Church was a creation of the orphanage. Iron Door Key. Of the three great bridges that link the two cathedral cradles, this key opens the iron door that leads to the mid-level bridge. There are no thieves in the nightmare. Then why lock a door? Be warned, there must be a very, very good reason. Underground Cell Key. Key to the cell below the Grand Cathedral. Hunters are held within the underground cell so that things better left unseen and knowledge better left unknown will decay quietly in the fallow darkness. Astral Clock Tower Key. Key to the Astral Clock Tower at the top of the Grand Cathedral. The caretaker of the tower's numerous patients, known to them only as Lady Maria, made her home behind the giant star-interpreting clock. Underground cell inner chamber key. Key to the inner chamber of the cell below the Grand Cathedral. The innermost chamber of the underground cell holds a lone madman. He wears a beast hide and rings a bell that emits no sound. Unending death awaits those who can hear the soundless bell. Hunter Chief Emblem. A cloth emblem that belonged to the captain of the church, hunters long ago, opens the main gate that leads to the round plaza of the great cathedral. The main gate is shut tight on nights of the hunt, and could only be opened from the other side with this emblem. In other words, the captain's return and this emblem determined the end of the hunt. Canehurst Summons. An old blood-stained summons inviting an honored guest to the forsaken Castle Canehurst. Rather bafflingly, it is addressed to you. Do not hesitate. The stagecoach leaves from Hemwick Crossing. Lawrence's Skull. Skull of Lawrence, first vicar of the Healing Church. In reality, he became the first cleric beast, and his human skull only exists within the nightmare. The skull is a symbol of Lawrence's past and what he failed to protect. He is destined to seek his skull, but even if he found it, it could never restore his memories. Eye Pendant. An eye pendant which unlocks the surgery altar. There are two cathedrals in the hunter's dream. One lies past the river of blood, and another contains the private research hall of the Healing Church. Only chosen members of the Healing Church or their lamentable patients can enter the research hall using this eye. Grant eyes to the surgery altar skull. Celestial Dial. A celestial dial that functions with the giant astral clock in the Grand Cathedral. When the dial is held up toward the astral clock, the clock will come to life and reveal a secret to its curious interloper. Unopened Summons. An old sealed summons. Like the first of its kind, it is an invitation to Canehurst, but for whom is not known, as it lacks an addressee. Ring of Betrothal. The inhuman beings known as the Great Ones imbued this ring of betrothal with some special meaning. In the age of the Great Ones, wedlock was a blood contract only permitted to those slated to bear a special child. Tonsil Stone. A latticed deformed rock, or perhaps a meteorite. Appears useless, but possesses some odd gravitational force that prevents its riddance. A dubious soul once said, "Step lightly round to the right of the great cathedral and seek an ancient, shrouded church. The gift of the Godhead will grant you strength." Eye of a blood-drunk hunter. The eye of a blood-drunk hunter. Its pupil is collapsed and turned to mush, indicating the onset of the scourge of beasts. A hunter who goes drunk with blood is said to be taken by the nightmare, destined to wander forever, engaged in an endless hunt. It is a fate that no hunter can escape. Yharnam Stone. A sacred heirloom left by Yharnam, Pthumerian queen. The queen lies dead, but her horrific consciousness is only asleep and stirs in unsettling motions. Short Ritual Root Chalice. One of the root chalices that breaks various seals in the old labyrinth. The glass chalice, when full, is used in a short ritual to quickly create and join a chalice dungeon, not for use in a ritual using standard materials. Short rituals are conducted at the makeshift altar. Blood Gem Workshop Tool. A misplaced workshop tool from the hunter's dream. The hunter who retrieves this can fortify weapons by kneading blood gems into them. Blood gems add properties to weapons when used to fortify them, as blood defines an organism. Rune Workshop Tool. Runesmith Caryll, student of Byrgenwerth, transcribed the inhuman utterings of the Great Ones into what are now called Caryll Runes. The hunter who retrieves this workshop tool can etch Caryll Runes into the mind to attain their wondrous strength. Provost Willem would have been proud of Caryll's runes, as they do not rely on blood in any measure. Workshop Haze Extractor. A misplaced workshop tool from the hunter's dream. The hunter who retrieves this can extract arcane haze from ritual materials. But alas, the spent materials are lost. Saw Hunter Badge. Badge crafted long ago at the workshop attests to one's prowess as a hunter of beasts. The workshop is gone, and no group recognizes this meaningless badge except the messengers in the bath, who understand its profundity. Certain things can only be entrusted with a hunter in possession of this badge, or so they believe. Powder Keg Hunter Badge. Badge crafted by the Powder Kegs, the heretics of the workshop. The Powder Keg's adoration of complex design and big booms culminated in weapons designs that contrast with those traditionally of the workshop. The late Powder Kegs, bless their souls, had a motto: if a weapon ain't got kick, it just ain't worth it. Old Hunter Badge. This hunter's badge, crafted in Gehrman's time, has no practical purpose, except perhaps to assist in romanticizing about the past. The badge was a special privilege for the hunters of the past and should not be dishonored. It should be left in peace, unless one is truly prepared to assume the will of those gone before. Crow Hunter Badge. Badge of a hunter of hunters who hunts those who have become addled with blood. The badge of the hunter of hunters is quietly passed down from generation to generation usually to an outsider from the hinterlands. To be entrusted with this cursed badge, one must be strong, resilient to the seduction of blood, and gracious when taking a comrade's life. Spark Hunter Badge. Badge crafted in secret by Archibald, the infamous eccentric of the Healing Church, for his friends. Archibald was fascinated by the blue sparks that emanate from the hides of the dark beasts, and dedicated his life to its artificial reproduction, in a style of inquiry that, incidentally, closely followed the methodology of Bergenworth. Sword Hunter Badge. One of the badges crafted by the Healing Church. The silver sword is a symbol of a church hunter. Ludwig was the first of many Healing Church hunters to come, many of whom were clerics. As it was, clerics transformed into the most hideous beasts. Radiant Sword Hunter Badge. One of the badges crafted by the Healing Church. The Radiant Sword indicates the heirs to the will of Ludwig. These hunters, also known as Holy Blades, are what remains of an ancient line of heroes that date back to a very early age of honor and chivalry. Wheel Hunter Badge. Martyr Logarius led a band of executioners, and this badge was crafted at their dedicated workshop. The wheel symbolizes righteous destiny. Their workshop was a secretive enclave of mystical beliefs and heady fanaticism, which served as the backbone of the executioner's unique brand of justice. Cosmic Eye Watcher Badge. Badge of a member of the choir, elites of the Healing Church. The eye signifies the very cosmos. The choir stumbled upon an epiphany, very suddenly, and quite by accident. Here we stand, feet planted in the earth, but might the cosmos be very near us? Only just above our heads. Firing Hammer Badge. Badge crafted by the Otto Workshop, precursor to the workshop of the heretical powder kegs. The powder kegs were driven by singular ideas and crafted strange weapons of great intricacy. It is clear that the philosophy of the powder kegs was already established at this time. Canehurst Badge. Badge of the Royal Guards of Canehurst, loyal guardians of the Vile Blood Queen Annalise. The Vile Bloods are hunters of blood, and hunt prey as they search for blood dregs. The hunter who joins them is faced with a decision, to merely borrow their strength, or to become one of them, heart and soul. Old Hunter Bell. One of the resonating bells that crosses the gaps of worlds. This bell is cracked and stained with the blood of beasts. A human must expend insight to ring this uncanny bell. The old hunters who have long passed from the dream, but cannot forget the feeling of the hunt, rely upon messengers to relay their thoughts. Ring the bell at their side, and they are certain to give a listen, for the night of the hunt is long and unchanging. Yeah. Black messenger hat. Hat that the messengers are oddly fond of. Symbol of the preventative hunters of the Healing Church. The inhabitants of the stump appear to have an interest in adornment. Why not let them be happy and revel as babes? Messenger Urn Festival. Accessory adored by naive messengers. The messengers wear the urns, filled with incense that wards off beasts, on their heads upside down, suggesting a predilection to the dark. And with that, we move on to the right-hand weapons, the primary weapons in the game. Saw Cleaver. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used in the hunting business. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transforms into a long cleaver that makes use of centrifugal force. The saw, with its set of bloodletting teeth, has become a symbol of the hunt, and only grows in effectiveness the more grotesquely transformed the beast. Saw Spear. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used by those who dedicate themselves to the hunt. This saw, effective at drawing the blood of beasts, transforms into a medium-range spear. Hunter Axe. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used on the hunt. Retains the qualities of an axe, but offers a wider palette of attacks by transforming. Boasts a heavy blunt attack, leading to high rally potential. No matter their pasts, beasts are no more than beasts. Some choose this axe to play the part of executioner. Beast Hunter Safe. A trick weapon used by the old hunters. A second blade is found inside the curve of the main one. In its initial form, the safe can be wielded like a long, curved sword, but when transformed, its blade is contracted, allowing for quick, repeated stabs. Although this trick weapon allows for adaptive combat, it was later replaced by saws and similar weapons that were more effective at disposing of beasts. Threaded Cane. One of the trick weapons of the workshop, commonly used by hunters on their duties. Sufficiently deadly as a rigid bladed cane, but also serves as a whip when its blade is split into many. Concealing the weapon inside the cane and flogging the beast with the whip is partly an act of ceremony, an attempt to demonstrate to oneself that the bloodlust of the hunt will never encroach upon the soul. Beast Cutter. A trick weapon wielded by the old hunters. This thick iron cleaver slices through the toughest of beast hides, and when transformed the blade splits into sections, allowing one to lash it in the fashion of a heavy whip. This crude weapon relies on brute force and is regrettably inelegant, suggesting that the hunts of the earliest hunters made for horrific affairs, painted in sanguine blacks and reds. Burial Blade. Trick weapon wielded by Gehrman, the first hunter. A masterpiece that defined the entire array of weapons crafted at the workshop. Its blade is forged with siderite, said to have fallen from the heavens. Gehrman surely saw the hunt as a dirge of farewell, wishing only that his prey might rest in peace, never again to awaken to another harrowing nightmare. Blade of Mercy. A special trick weapon passed down among hunters of hunters, one of the oldest weapons of the workshop. Splits into two when activated. The weapon's warped blades are forged with siderite, a rare mineral of the heavens, most effective in swift attacks, such as after a quick stepping. Church Pick. One of the old trick weapons of the Healing Church. A hunting weapon formed from one of the giant picks that appear in old beast tales. The church pick initially serves as a large sword, but when transformed, functions as an extended war pick. In spite of its origins, it is a highly practical weapon. Kirkhammer. A trick weapon typically used by Healing Church hunters. On the one side, an easily handled silver sword. On the other, a giant obtuse stone weapon, characterized by a blunt strike and extreme force of impact. The church takes a heavy-handed, merciless stance toward the plague of beasts, an irony not lost upon the wielders of this most symbolic weapon. Ludwig's Holy Blade. A trick weapon typically used by Healing Church hunters. It is said that the silver sword was employed by Ludwig, the first hunter of the church. When transformed, it combines with its sheath to form a greatsword. The Healing Church workshop began with Ludwig, and departed from old Gehrman's techniques to provide hunters with the means to hunt more terrifying beasts, and perhaps things still worse. Holy Moonlight Sword. An arcane sword discovered long ago by Ludwig. When blue moonlight dances around the sword, and it channels the abyssal cosmos, its great blade will hurl a shadowy light wave. The Holy Moonlight Sword is synonymous with Ludwig, the Holy Blade, but few have ever set eyes on the Great Blade, and whatever guidance it has to offer, it seems to be of a very private, elusive sort. Simon's Bowblade. Choice weapon of Simon, one of the first Healing Church hunters. Simon despised firearms, and so the church workshop had this specially fashioned to his liking. The large curved blade serves as a bow when transformed. But aside from a few close friends, Simon was scoffed at for his choice of arms. For who would dare face the beasts with a measly bow? Reiter Palash. Weapon wielded by the Knights of Cainhurst. Combines an elegant knight's sword with the peculiar firearm wielded by the Cainhurst order. The old nobles, long-time imbibers of blood, are no strangers to the sanguine plague, and the disposal of beasts was a discreet task left to their servants, or knights as they were called for the sake of appearances. Chikage. Foreign-made weapon wielded by the royal guards who protect Annalise, Queen of the Vile Bloods at Cainhurst Castle. When the intricate, rippled engraving that spans the Chikage's blade is imbrued with blood, the sword sings in scarlet hues. However, the rite eats away at the wielder's very essence. Rakuyo. Hunter weapon wielded by Lady Maria of the Astral Clock Tower. A trick sword originated in the same country as the Cainhurst Chikage, only this sword feeds not off blood, but instead demands great dexterity. Lady Maria was fond of this aspect of the Recuyo, as she frowned upon bloodblades despite being a distant relative of the Queen. But one day, she abandoned her beloved Recuyo, casting it into a dark well when she could stomach its presence no longer. Rifle Spear, a trick weapon crafted by the workshop heretics, the powder kegs. A prototype weapon serving as a simple firearm and spear, possibly created in imitation of a lost Canehurst weapon. Lacks any notable functions, saving that it is the only trick weapon with an attached gun. Stake Driver, a trick weapon fashioned by the workshop heretics, the powder kegs, favored by the retired hunter Jura. The stake driver, with its queerly complex design, violently drives thick stakes into the flesh of foes. The stake driver allows for high damage critical attacks, but is difficult to use, and leaves its wielder wide open. But none of this should bother a mere powder keg. Boom Hammer, a trick weapon used by the old hunters, and crafted by the workshop heretics, the powder kegs. A giant hammer equipped with a miniature furnace. When ignited and fired, it emits a volley of flame that explodes furiously upon impact. Crush the beasts, then burn them. The brute simplicity of the boom hammer was favored by hunters with an acute distaste for beasts. Whirligig Saw, a trick weapon crafted by the workshop heretics, the powder kegs, and weapon of choice for the old hunter Walter, the beast eater. This weapon pummels beasts in its mace form, but its true strength lies in its attached mechanical saws. These discs, lined with serrated teeth, spin rapidly, thrashing the flesh of beasts into fine shreds. Tonitrus, a unique trick weapon contrived by Archibald, the infamous eccentric of the Healing Church Workshop. Striking this particular iron morning star flail like a match generates the same blue sparks that blanket a dark beast. Unfortunately, for reasons untold, the hunters of Archibald's time did not fully take to the device. Logarius Wheel, weapon wielded by Martyr Logarius' band of executioners, used to slaughter the vile bloods in Canehurst, bathed in pools of their blood and forever steeped in their ire. Transform to release the power of the wheel and manifest their lingering rage in a show of utter brilliance. That's my dog, everyone. Say hello to Anubis. Bloodletter, the demented hunter weapon brandished by Brador, the Healing Church assassin. The bloodletter assumes its true and terrifying form after it draws upon blood from the inner reaches of one's body and soul. This is the only effective means of expelling tainted blood, or so Brador, isolated in his cell, continued to believe. Amygdalin Arm, the arm of a small amygdala, Great One. Strictly speaking, the amygdalin arm is no trick weapon of any sort, but certain madmen wield them like clubs. Starts as a large, tough, blunt weapon formed of bone, but when extended, the hand quivers as if it were still alive. Beast Claw, beastly weapon wielded by irreverent Izzy. Crafted by chiseling the long bones of an undead dark beast and fastening them to the weapon. The bones are still alive, and when unleashed, grant its wielder a spurt of beastly power. As flesh is flayed and blood is sprayed, the beast within awakens, and in time the wielder of this weapon surges with both strength and feverish reverie. Kos Parasite. When the carcass of Kos washed up on the coast, its insides were teeming with tiny parasites, unlike any found in humans. This atypical weapon can only be clasped tight and swung, but a Kos parasite is said to stimulate phantasms inhabiting a lumen wood. And now we move on to the left-hand weapons, the firearms, and similar items. Hunter Pistol. Pistol made at the workshop for hunters stalking beasts. Hunter firearms are specially crafted to employ quicksilver bullets fused with the wielder's own blood, boosting damage against beasts. The pistol is a quicker draw than the blunderbuss, allowing for speedier responses to attacks. Hunter Blunderbuss. A blunderbuss created at the workshop for the hunter's line of work. Hunter firearms are specially crafted to employ quicksilver bullets, fused with the wielder's own blood, boosting damage against beasts. The impact of this highly effective weapon counters beasts' swift movements, and its wide spread is nigh on guaranteed to hit the mark. Repeating Pistol. Repeating pistol typically used by healing church hunters. Crafted with mostly metal parts and exhibiting a complex design, the repeating pistol fires 2 shots at once, making it a ravenous consumer of quicksilver bullets. Should be used sparingly, compared to its workshop counterpart, as the trump card in one's arsenal. Ludwig's Rifle. A rifle typically used by healing church hunters. It is said that this rifle was employed by Ludwig, the first hunter of the church. Its long, heavy barrel makes up in range for what it lacks in reload speed. Ludwig's rifle exhibits several departures from the workshop's design, suggesting that the church anticipated much larger inhuman beasts. Piercing Rifle. A rifle engineered by the Otto workshop, the precursor to the workshop of the heretical powder kegs. Designed for hunting on narrow streets, this rifle has been optimized to cause perforation wounds, but is unfit for reliably countering attacks. Evelyn. Special pistol used by Canehurst Knights. The Evelyn uses quicksilver bullets just as any workshop firearm, but the Canehurst variant relies more on blood tinge. Lovingly named after a woman and graced with an intricate design, Evelyns were adored by Canehurst Knights. Cannon. Large prototype firearms fashioned by the workshop heretics, the powder kegs. Use of this weapon is equivalent to toting a mounted cannon, complete with its ridiculous weight, staggering kick, and lavish use of quicksilver bullets into battle. Such a monstrosity was doomed from the start, and indeed its development was cut short. Yet, against impossibly gigantic foes, it might be just the thing. Gatling Gun. This is a highly customized portable version of the stationary Gatling gun operated by the old hunter Jura in Old Yarnum. It was the companion of choice of the youngest of Jorah's 3 companions. The Gatling gun boasts exceptional rapid-firing functionality, but is considered a cumbersome weapon due to its excessive weight and insatiable consumption of quicksilver bullets. Church Cannon, an oversized weapon used by the Healing Church, a type of cannon that fires with a curved trajectory and creates an explosion upon impact. Originally designed for use by brawny men with deteriorated brains, not for just any ordinary hunter. But the men lacked the wits to effectively operate firearms, and the weapon was quietly ushered into permanent storage. Flame Sprayer, a special weapon used by certain members of the Healing Church, spits searing flames by using blood-imbued quicksilver bullets as a special medium. Not the most efficient weapon by any stretch, but sometimes a sea of flame is just what the doctor ordered. Besides, the beasts of Yharnam can always use a good cleansing. Rosmarinus, a special weapon used by the choir, high-ranking members of the Healing Church. Sprays a cloud of sacred mist, created by using blood-imbued quicksilver bullets as a special medium. Arias are heard wherever sacred mist is seen, proving that the mist is a heavenly blessing. O fair maiden, why is it that you weep? Fist of Gracia, a chunk of iron fitted with finger holes. The hulking hunter woman, simple Gracia, ever hopeless when handling hunter firearms, preferred to knock the lights out of beasts with this hunk of iron, which incidentally caused heavy stagger. Gracia was a fearsome hunter, and to onlookers, her unrelenting pummeling appeared oddly heroic. No wonder this weapon later assumed her name. Hunter's Torch, a torch formed by wrapping a pine resin-drenched cloth around the end of a long stick, once used in Old Yharnam, designed to incinerate beasts and victims touched by the scourge. Its fire damage is highly effective against beasts. Wooden Shield, a crude wooden shield used by the masses who have arisen to join the hunt. Hunters do not normally employ shields, ineffectual against the strength of the beast as they tend to be. Shields are nice, but not if they engender passivity. Lock Shield, an artisanal shield crafted with blue glass, originally used to safeguard the leader presiding over a sacred Healing Church ceremony, and later supplied to tomb prospectors, in particular those exploring the labyrinth of Ys. The blue is fashioned after a lake, and the shield greatly reduces all forms of non-physical damage. Now we move on to the attire. I've been waiting for this. I'm going to skip the blood gems, the next category. So after the attire, we'll just have the Caryll Runes and the Chalices. And for the attire, I think I'll skip some of the items if they're too similar. Hunter Hat, one of the standard articles of hunter attire fashioned at the workshop. A fine piece of hunter attire that provides stable defense to anyone facing Yharnam's beastly threat. Recognizable by its withered feathers, this cap is fashioned after one of the old hunters. Hunter garb, one of the standard articles of hunter attire fashioned at the workshop, accompanied with a short cape to wipe away blood. A fine piece of hunter attire that provides stable defense to anyone facing Yharnam's beastly threat, allows one to stalk beasts unannounced by cover of night. Top hat. Hat worn by hunters who admire formality. Some hunters place an emphasis on form, as seen by the use of the threaded cane. For them, formality, beauty, and justice are the very essence of our humanity, and precisely what keeps hunters from becoming something else. Charred hunter garb. A product of the scourge of the beast that once plagued old Yharnam and culminated in the town's fiery cleansing. The cape's dampness makes it highly resistant to fire. Wearers of this attire hunted down victims of the scourge who survived the raging flames and stench of singed blood. Charred hunter gloves. Designed to be highly resistant to fire, wearers of this attire hunted down victims of the scourge who survived the raging flames and stench of singed blood. Trousers. Gray wolf cap. Attire of the retired hunter Jorah. This worn wolf cap was his trademark. Jorah is known through his contact with the powder kegs, the heretics of the workshop. He is said to have been both uncommonly kind and dreadfully foolish. Jorah felt defeated by the state of old Yharnam and renounced his hunter's vows. Old hunter cap. Old hunter cap with a wide brim that hides their sharp gaze. In the old days, when hunters were 10 a penny, this was part of their standard garb. Old hunter garb. One day, the hunters disappeared, and Yharnamites began to whisper of the hunter's sin. Drunk with blood, chasing after beasts, they would pass on to the nightmare. Every last one of them. Old hunter gloves. Old hunter gauntlets made of brass to protect their weapon-bearing hands. At the time, some hunters believed that certain metals would ward off beast blood. On a night of the hunt, it is no wonder that some resort to superstition. Old hunter trousers. Old hunter trousers that protected countless hunters from the beasts in an older age. A widespread belief of the period was that beast blood crept up the right leg, and this led to the double-wrapped belt. Black church garb. Attire of healing church hunters. The holy shawl, symbol of the healing church, flutters proudly on their backs. Most healing church hunters are elementary doctors who understand the importance of early prevention of the scourge, achieved by disposing of victims and even potential victims before signs of sickness manifest themselves. Their black attire is synonymous with fear, and that particular Yharnam darkness. Surgical long gloves. White surgical gloves. The intricate embroidery weaves a spell that protects the wearer. The church engages in the hunt in a medical capacity. When a cancer is discovered, one must pinpoint its location, reach in, and wrench it from the host's bosom. White church garb. Attire of special church doctors. These doctors are superiors to the black preventative hunters and specialists in experimentally backed blood ministration and the scourge of the beasts. They believe that medicine is not a means of treatment, but rather a method for research, and that some knowledge can only be obtained by exposing oneself to sickness. Harrowed garb. Certain church hunters obfuscate their identities and slip into the nooks and crannies of the city. This is the garb that allows these harrowed individuals to go unnoticed. These hunters are keen to early signs of the scourge, serving as the first line of defense against its outbreak. Or perhaps, when the time is ripe, they find signs of the scourge where there are none. It just goes to show the corner beggar is not always who he seems. Tomb prospector garb. Attire of tomb prospectors who explore the old labyrinth on behalf of the Healing Church. The Healing Church traces its roots to Bergenworth and is therefore aware of the ruins' true importance. They contain much more than mere hunter trinkets, indeed. They hide the very secrets of the old great ones, sought after by those with the insight to imagine greatness. Black hooded iron helm. Iron helmet worn by hunters of the unseen village. The hunters of Yargul answer to the village's founders, the School of Mensis. Hunters in name only, these kidnappers wear their black hoods low to shadow their eyes. This helm is made of metal, a rarity for hunter garb, and has high defense, but only against physical attacks. Iron Yargul helm. Removing the hood reveals something reminiscent of a warrior of a previous age. Yargul black garb. Thick black pullover worn by hunters of the unseen village. Designed primarily to defend from physical attacks, the binding of thick rope serves both to protect its wearer and restrain his foes. Gold Aradeo. The odd helmet worn by the band of executioners commanded by the martyr Logarius. The conical gold helmet, symbol of the executioners, represents luminosity, ambition, and an unflagging resolve to face impurity, staring it down with stern, golden spirit. As the great Logarius once said, acts of goodness are not always wise, and acts of evil are not always foolish. But regardless, we shall always strive to be good. Executioner garb. Attire worn by the band of executioners commanded by the martyr Logarius. Later became the basis for all church attire, with its heavily draping of holy shawl. Executioner Gauntlets. Gauntlets worn by the band of executioners, commanded by the martyr Logarius. The brass rivets are unique to the executioners and reflect their adoration of hand-to-hand combat. Blindfold Cap. Attire of the choir, high-ranking members of the Healing Church. Members of the choir are both the highest-ranking clerics of the Healing Church and scholars who continue the work that began at Bergenworth. The eye covering indicates their debt to the teachings of Master Willem, even though their paths diverged. Choir Garb. Attire of the choir, high-ranking members of the Healing Church. Members of the choir are both the highest-ranking clerics of the Healing Church and scholars who continue the work that began at Bergenworth. Together with the left-behind Great One, they look to the skies in search of astral signs that may lead them to the rediscovery of true greatness. Knight's Wig. Adornment prized by the Knights of Cainhurst. Resembles a ponytail of silver hair. The Cainhurst way is a mix of nostalgia and bombast. They take great pride even in the blood-stained corpses of beasts that they leave behind, confident that they will stand as examples of decadent art. Knight's Garb. A regal piece graced by intricate gold work. Knight's Gloves. A regal piece graced with gold work on red fabric. Knight's Trousers or dress. A regal piece made with the finest leather. Cainhurst Helmet. Silver helmet worn by the royal guards who protect Annalise, Queen of the Vile Bloods, at Cainhurst Castle. This paper-thin silver armor is said to deflect blood of ill intent, and is what allows the royal guards to capture prey for their beloved queen, so that one day she may bear a child of blood. Cainhurst armor, silver armor worn by the royal guards who protect Annalise, Queen of the Vile Bloods, at Cainhurst Castle. Cainhurst Gauntlets, silver gauntlets worn by the royal guards who protect Annalise, Queen of the Vile Bloods, at Cainhurst Castle. And the silver leggings. Ashen Hunter Garb. Attire of the retired hunter Jura, painted with ash in a ceremony to ward off blood. Jura is known through his contact with the powder kegs, the heretics of the workshop. He is said to have been both uncommonly kind and dreadfully foolish. Jura felt defeated by the state of Old Yarnum and renounced his hunter's vows. Henrik's Hunter Cap. Hunter's hat worn by Henrik, the Old Hunter. The taciturn old hunter Henrik was once partners with Father Gascoigne, and though they were a fierce and gallant duo, their partnership led to Henrik's tragically long life. Henrik's unique yellow garb is resistant to bolt, and will be a great help to any hunter who has inherited the onus of the hunt. Yamamura Hunter Hat. A standard hunter's hat worn by Yamamura the Wanderer, This hat and staff were given to him when he became a hunter and confederate of the League. Khaki Howery, garb of a distant eastern land, worn by Yamamura the Wanderer. This eastern warrior pursued a beast for honorable revenge, then became a hunter of the League. But when he stared straight into impurity, it drove him mad. Old Hunter Armbands. Old Hunter armbands wound tightly to prevent infection with the scourge. Of course, the idea that the scourge was infectious was pure hearsay. Wine Hakama, garb of a distant eastern land, worn by Yamamura the Wanderer. Constable's garb. Once upon a time, a troop of foreign constables chased a beast all the way to Yharnam, and this is what they wore. The constables became victims of the beast except for one survivor, who in turn devoured the creature whole, all by himself. This fable is a favorite among Yharnamites, who are partial to any stories of pompous and tolerant foreigners who suffer for their ignorance. It makes the blood taste that much sweeter. Beak Mask. Wood-carved mask of Eileen the Crow, hunter of hunters. The beak contains incense to mask scents of blood and beast. Hunters of hunters dress as crows to suggest sky burial. The first hunter of hunters came from a foreign land and gave the dead a virtuous native funeral burial rather than impose a blasphemous Yharnam burial service upon them, with the hope that former compatriots might be returned to the skies and find rest in a hunter's dream. Crow Feather Garb, attire worn by Eileen the Crow, hunter of hunters, known in particular for her crow feather cape. Gehrman's Hunter Cap, hunter attire of Gehrman, the first hunter. Created before the workshop existed, by making adjustments to everyday clothing, and later became the basis for all hunter's garb. The hunter's emphasis on engaging beasts with speed, and therefore of selecting lightweight attire, no doubt traces back to Gehrman's own combat style. Maria Hunter Cap. Among the first hunters, all students of Gehrman, was the lady hunter Maria. This was her hunter's cap, crafted in Canehurst. Maria is distantly related to the undead queen, but had great admiration for Gehrman, unaware of his curious mania. Gascoigne's Cap, hunter attire worn by Father Gascoigne. Similar to hunter garb created at the workshop, only these are tainted by a pungent beastly stench that eats away at Gascoigne. Father is a title used for clerics in a foreign land, and there is no such rank in the healing church. Gascoigne's Garb, hunter attire worn by Father Gascoigne. The dingy scarf is a holy shawl and symbol of the healing church, from which Gascoigne would eventually part ways. Brador's Testimony, the scalp of a horrible cleric beast, indicating that Hunter Brador, a healing church assassin, had killed a compatriot. Afterward, he wore his ally's own scalp and hid himself away deep below in a cell. The church provided him with a single soundless bell of death to ensure their secrets would be kept. Beast hide garb. The bloodied hide of a horrible cleric beast pulled over the back. Without the attached beast hide, this foreign garb wouldn't raise anyone's eyebrows. Brador donned a compatriot's beastly scalp and hide while still moist with blood. Most of the blood stains on this hide were from that day. Bone Ash Mask. A mask made of bone ash, worn by the oldest keepers. The keepers who mined the slumbering great ones gained eternal life, preserved in ashen form in a ceremony of flame that cremated body and soul. The long pointed hat is a symbol of the old keepers and is considered evidence of their companionship, forged in a certain sin. Bone Ash Armor. Armor made of bone ash, worn by the oldest keepers. The keepers who mined the slumbering great ones gained eternal life, preserved in ashen form in a ceremony of flame that cremated body and soul. Now their frail armor is white and sinewy, a window into an arcane, lost art. Graveguard Mask. Mask of Doris, Graveguard of the Forbidden Woods. His pale countenance mimics the Labyrinth Watchers. Willem kept 2 loyal servants back at Bergenworth. When they were sent into the labyrinth, they encountered the Eldritch Truth and went mad. One became the password gatekeeper, while Doris became a graveguard of the forest. Both remained loyal, even in madness. Graveguard Robe. Countless bloodied ritual tools hang from its back. Graveguard Manchettes, covered in the blood of untidy rituals. Mensis Cage. The School of Mensis controls the unseen village. This hexagonal iron cage suggests their strange ways. The cage is a device that restrains the will of the self, allowing one to see the profane world for what it is. It also serves as an antenna that facilitates contact with the great ones of the dream. But to an observer, the iron cage appears to be precisely what delivered them to their harrowing nightmare. Student Uniform. Uniform of the students of Bergenworth, a bygone institute of learning. Features a thick cape. The Healing Church has its roots in Bergenworth, and naturally borrows heavily from its uniform design. The focus not on knowledge or thought, but on pure pretension, would surely bring Master Willem to despair. If only he knew. Enlarged head. An enlarged head of a patient of the cathedral, with a cavity that just happens to fit a human head, although One would be mad to try it on. But if you do, listen carefully for the sticky sound. Drip, drop, as water seeping up from the depths, slowly, steadily. Noble dress. A finely tailored Bordeaux dress, worn by the nobles of the old bloodline that traces back to the forsaken castle Cainhurst. Ariana's shoes. Shoes worn by Ariana, woman of the night, in the cathedral ward. Innocent and cute, in contrast with its owner. Doll clothes. Discarded doll clothing, likely a spare for dress-up. A deep love for the doll can be surmised by the fine craftsmanship of this article and the care with which it was kept. It borderlines on mania and exudes a slight warmth. That's all the attire. Skipping the blood gems. Too many, and they're too repetitive. We've arrived at the Caryll Runes. This one's not going to take long. I'm only going to read one from each category unless they're different. Clockwise metamorphosis. A secret symbol left by Caryll, runesmith of Bergenworth. The twisted cross means metamorphosis. Rotated clockwise, this rune boosts HP. The discovery of blood made their dream of evolution a reality. Metamorphosis and the excesses and deviation that followed were only the beginning. Communion, a secret symbol left by Caryll, runesmith of Bergenworth. Several runes relate to blood, including communion, which raises the maximum number of blood vials one may carry. This rune represents the healing church and its ministers. Blood ministration is, of course, the pursuit of communion. Formless Odin, a secret symbol left by Caryll, runesmith of Bergenworth. The Great One Odin, lacking form, exists only in voice, and is symbolized by this rune. Those who memorize it enjoy a larger supply of quicksilver bullets. Human or no, the oozing blood is a medium of the highest grade, and the essence of the formless Great One, Odin. Both Odin and his inadvertent worshippers surreptitiously seek the precious blood. Clawmark, a Caryll rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. The clawmark is an impulse to seek the warmth of blood like a beast. It strengthens visceral attacks, one of the darker hunter techniques. Although the difference is subtle, runesmith Caryll describes the beast as a horrific and unwelcome instinct deep within the hearts of men, while clawmark is an alluring invitation to accept its very nature. Blood Rapture, a Caryll rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. Blood Rapture is the raw euphoria of the warmth of blood. Restores HP with visceral attacks, one of the darker hunter techniques. This This rune resonates with servants of the Queen, carrier of the child of blood, who yearn for their queen's blood with little hope for requitement. For them, they find solace in blood rapture that serves as a surrogate for their desires. Odin Writhe, a Caryll rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. Writhe sees a subtle mucus in the warmth of blood and acknowledges visceral attacks as one of the darker hunter techniques. Visceral attacks restore quicksilver bullets. Air. The air sees sentimentality in the warmth of blood and acknowledges visceral attacks as one of the darker hunter techniques. More blood echoes gained from visceral attacks. Perhaps the air is a hunter who bears the echoing will of those before him. Great Lake. This transcription of the Great One's inhuman voices ripples like a watery reflection. This rune means lake, and those who memorize it enjoy general reduced damage. Great volumes of water serve as a bulwark guarding sleep and an augur of the eldritch truth. Overcome this hindrance and seek what is yours. Deep sea. This transcription of the Great One's inhuman voices depicts down-reaching currents. This rune means deep sea and grants augmented resistance. Moon, a secret symbol left by Caryll Runesmith of Bergenworth, a transcription of moon as spoken by the Great Ones inhabiting the nightmare. Gain more blood echoes. The Great Ones that inhabit the nightmare are sympathetic in spirit, and often answer when called upon. Eye, a secret symbol left by Caryll Runesmith of Bergenworth, a transcription of I as spoken by left behind Great Ones, allows one to make additional discoveries. Eyes symbolize the truth Master Willem sought in his research. Disillusioned by the limits of human intellect, Master Willem looked to beings from higher planes for guidance and sought to line his brain with eyes in order to elevate his thoughts. Guidance, a Caryll rune discovered by the old hunter Ludwig, along with the holy moonlight sword. Boosts amount of life recovered by rallying. When Ludwig closed his eyes, he saw darkness, or perhaps nothingness, and that is where he discovered the tiny beings of light. Ludwig was certain that these playful, dancing sprites offered guidance, and emptied Ludwig of his fears, at least in the midst of a hunt. Beast, a secret symbol left by Caryll Runesmith of Bergenworth, a transcription of the roar of a labyrinth beast. The bearer of the beast rune has accentuated temporary transformation effects. Beast is one of the early Caryll runes, as well as one of the first to be deemed forbidden. The discovery of blood entailed the discovery of undesirable beasts. Hunter, a Caryll rune that transcribes inhuman sounds. This red smudged rune means hunter, and has been adopted by those who have taken the Hunter of Hunters oath. These watchmen admonish those who have become addled with blood, be they men or beasts. Anyone who has threatened the pledgers of the Hunter oath surely has an issue with blood. Corruption. A secret symbol left by Caryll, runesmith of Byrgenwerth. Several runes contain a nuance of blood, including the rune of corruption, associated with the oath of the corrupt. Pledgers to this oath are Canehurst Vilebloods, hunters of blood who find dregs for their queen in cold blood, particularly in that of hunters. Yet the corrupt are heretics in the eyes of the church, and thus subject to the wrath of the executioners. Radiance. A secret symbol left by Caryll, runesmith of Byrgenwerth. The rune for radiance, adopted by the sworn executioners under Logarius's command. The executioners despised the impure Vilebloods, and no matter what the circumstances, would never cooperate with the bloodthirsty hunters who serve the undead queen, Annalise. Impurity. This rune, discovered inside the forbidden beast eater, came to symbolize impurity and the oath of the League. Confederates of the League cooperate with hunters from other worlds and hunt to discover vermin. Vermin writhe within filth and are the root of man's impurity. Crush all vermin without hesitation. Beast's embrace. After repeated experiments in controlling the scourge of beasts, the gentle embrace rune was discovered. When its implementation failed, the embrace became a forbidden rune, but this knowledge became a foundation of the healing church. Those who swear this oath take on a ghastly form and enjoy accentuated transformation effects, especially while wielding a beast weapon. Milkweed. A Caryll rune envisioned by Adeline, patient of the research hall. A transcription of the inhuman, sticky whispers that reveal the nature of a celestial attendant. Those who take this oath become a lumen wood that peers towards the sky, feeding phantasms in its luscious bed. Phantasms guide us and lead to further discoveries. And finally, we have reached the Chalices. The Meru Chalice. Ritual chalice found in the Church of the Good Chalice. Use in a ritual at the tomb altar in the hunter's dream to break the seal of the old underground labyrinth. Let the chalice reveal the tomb of the gods. Let blood be the hunter's nourishment, and let ye partake in communion. Root chalice. I'm not going to do the root chalices. And since a lot of these descriptions are similar, I'm only going to read the differences. Central through Meru Chalice. A chalice that breaks a labyrinth seal. But only a root chalice changes the shape of the old labyrinth when used in a ritual. The old labyrinth was carved out by the Thumerians, superhuman beings that are said to have unlocked the wisdom of the Eldritch truth. Sinister Lower Thumeru Root Chalice. When used in a ritual, the Sinister Chalice summons the sinister resonant bell. The bell-ringing woman appears to be a mad Thumerian. Defiled Chalice. A chalice that breaks a labyrinth seal. Only this defiled chalice is cursed. Curses are caused by inciting the anger of the Great Ones and used to hex others. Special materials are required to complete the ritual. To try one's hand at curses, first seek the Bastard of Loran. Cursed and Defiled Root Chalice. Root chalice that breaks multiple labyrinth seals. This cursed chalice makes a special ritual possible, but must not be used lightly, as the resulting transformation can be utterly drastic. The old labyrinth was carved out by the Thumerian superhuman beings that are said to have unlocked the wisdom of the Eldritch Truth. Great Thumeru Ihil Chalice. Great chalices unlock deeper reaches of the labyrinth. Thumeru Ihil was the title of both the Thumerian monarch and its capital. This reveals that while early Thumerians were mere humble guardians of the slumbering Great Ones, their descendants felt entitled to name themselves a leader. Sinister Thumeru Ihil Root Chalice. The Thumerian monarch was traditionally a woman who assumed a name with classical roots. Hintertomb Chalice. Hintertombs are the peripheral catacombs of the old underground labyrinth. To this day, the Watchers continue to expand the Hintertombs, unceremonious catacombs filled with graves and death. Ailing Loran Chalice. Loran is a tragic land that was devoured by the sands. The tragedy that struck this ailing land of Loran is said to have its roots in the scourge of the beast. Some have made the dreaded extrapolation that Yharnam may be next. Lower Loran Chalice. There are trace remains of medical procedures in parts of ailing Loran. Whether these were attempts to control the scourge of the beast or the cause of the outbreak is unknown. Great Ease Chalice. A chalice that breaks the labyrinth seal. Great chalices unlock deeper reaches of the labyrinth. The Great Ease Chalice became a cornerstone of the choir, the elite delegation of the Healing Church. It was also the first great chalice brought back to the surface since the time of Bergenworth, and allowed the choir to have audience with Ebrietas. And there it is. That's my inventory. Right at the 2 hour, 10 minute, and 30-second mark. We did it. And if you're listening to this, Give yourself a round of applause. As I said, this video was a long time coming. I was actually postponing it until I finished the Chalice dungeons, just to add 2 items to the list. Imagine that. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I love everything about this game, basically. So any excuse to fire it up again, I'll use. Have a wonderful day, evening, night. You make the choice, whichever applies to you. And I will see you when I see you on the other side.